There's a moment that plays out in every repair shop in America, and you've been on the wrong side of it more times than you know. You're sitting in the waiting room with a vending machine coffee, and the service advisor comes around the corner with a clipboard and a careful little frown. He says they found a few things. Nothing urgent, he tells you. But you really wouldn't want to wait on these. Almost everybody nods and says, okay. You've nodded and said, okay. And a solid chunk of what's printed on that list never needed doing in the first place. I spent more than 2 decades on the other side of that counter, and I watched service writers get trained, actually trained with scripts and role play on how to read the look on your face and turn it into another $200 before you stood up. The one sitting at number 1 isn't just wasted money. Done to the wrong engine, it can cost you the entire motor, and they will hand you that bill with a straight face. And number 4, when this is over, go pull up your last few service invoices. I would put money on it being right there, in black and white, more than once. By the time we're done, you'll read a repair estimate like somebody who used to write them, and you'll know exactly which lines to quietly cross out before you ever reach for your wallet. We're starting at 13, the harmless-sounding one they always offer with a smile. Number 13, the nitrogen tire fill. You pull in for tires, and somebody offers to fill them with nitrogen for an extra charge, promising steadier pressure and longer tire life. Here's the part they leave out. The ordinary air already going into your tires is about 78% nitrogen. For a daily commuter, the real-world difference between that and pure nitrogen is so small you will never feel it, never measure it, and never get your money back on it. Ask yourself a simple question. Has anyone at that counter ever shown you an actual number proving it did anything? The fix costs you almost nothing. Keep a $12 pressure gauge in the glove box, set your tires to the figure printed on the driver's door jamb, and check them once a month. That door jamb number is the one the engineers chose for your car, not the maximum stamped on the tire sidewall, which is a different thing entirely. Number 12, the wiper blade install. This one is small enough that most people never question it, which is exactly why it works so well. A shop quotes you for new wiper blades plus the labor to put them on, and the whole thing sounds reasonable until you see what the part actually costs. In 22 years, I watched the very same blade selling for $11 across the street get written onto a ticket at $34 with labor stacked on top for a snap-in piece you can swap in a parking lot in 90 seconds. Drop a comment below. When was the last time a shop charged you to install something you could have done yourself in the driveway? Be honest. The fix is almost insulting in how easy it is. Buy the blade yourself, watch a 1-minute video for your exact car, and clip it on. Number 11, the shop supplies fee. This is the line nobody reads, sitting near the bottom of the invoice in small print. 2 tickets cross my bench for the same oil change on the same model. One simply charges for oil and labor. The other tax on a shop supplies fee and a fluid top-off charge that quietly pad the total by another chunk. Here's what they don't advertise. That shop supplies line is usually just a percentage of your bill with nothing itemized behind it, and the so-called top-off is often a splash of washer fluid that costs them pennies. The fix takes 1 sentence at the counter. Ask them to itemize that fee or take it off, and you'll be surprised how often it simply disappears. Number 10, the counter fuel additive. A nurse from Tucson brought her 2018 Civic in for a basic oil change and walked out having paid $52 for a fuel system cleaner the advisor poured straight into her tank at the register. She didn't know that the exact same bottle sits on a shelf at any parts store for around $9. That's the whole trick. An off-the-shelf additive, poured in at the counter, marked up several times over for the privilege of them twisting the cap. The truth is, some of those cleaners have their place now and then, especially on an older engine with some miles on it. The fix is to buy a reputable bottle yourself, read the back, and pour it in when you fill up. The chemistry is identical. The price is not. Number 9, the early coolant flush. A coolant flush gets recommended like clockwork, sometimes at nearly every visit, long before your car actually calls for one. What they're banking on is that you don't know the interval, so the word flush just sounds responsible. In all my years under the hood, the engines that genuinely needed coolant service were running fluid that was years past due, not the ones getting talked into it early to fill a slow afternoon at the shop. Modern long-life coolant is built to go the distance your owner's manual specifies, and that number is usually far further out than the counter wants you to believe. The fix is to open the manual, find the real coolant interval for your car, and do it when the calendar or the mileage actually gets there. Number 8, the untested brake flush. Now, I want to be fair here because brake fluid is the one place where the underlying service is completely real. Brake fluid absorbs moisture over time, that moisture lowers its boiling point, and a flush at the proper interval is legitimate, important maintenance. The scam isn't the flush. The scam is pushing it on you at every single visit without anyone ever testing whether your fluid actually needs it. So here's your move at the counter. Ask them to dip a test strip or give you a moisture reading before they touch it. If they can't show you a number and just keep repeating that it's due, you're being sold a flush nobody bothered to prove you needed. Number 7. The serpentine belt scare. This one runs on a single word, and that word is stranded. The advisor walks out holding your serpentine belt up to the light, points at some fine cracks along the surface, and tells you it could snap any day and leave you stuck on the shoulder. A real estate agent from Boise brought me her 2019 Malibu after a shop quoted her $238 to replace a belt that was, in plain fact, perfectly serviceable. Here's what they're counting on you not knowing. The rubber on a modern belt develops tiny surface cracks as completely normal wear, and a belt like that can run tens of thousands of miles more. The thing that actually signals a failing belt is missing chunks out of the ribs on the underside, not light cracking on top. The fix is to ask them to show you real material gone from those ribs, or to run a simple wear gauge across it. Replace it at the interval in your manual or when the ribs are genuinely chewed up, not the first time someone says the word stranded. Number 6. The throttle body cleaning. You bring in a car with barely 30,000 miles on it and somehow leave with a recommendation to clean the throttle body and decarbonize the intake. There's a kernel of truth buried in here, which is exactly what makes it work. On a higher mileage engine with a genuine rough idle, cleaning carbon out of the throttle body is real, useful work. But automotive technicians will tell you that the vast majority of drivability complaints on a low mileage car trace back to sensors, fuel quality, or a software update, not a throttle body that's barely had time to get dirty. Pushed early with no rough idle and no warning light, that $147 cleaning is billable busy work dressed up in technical language. The fix is simple. No rough idle and no check engine light means you politely decline, and if symptoms ever do show up, a can of cleaner and a rag handles it for a few dollars when it's actually warranted. Number 5. The alignment every visit. Watch how often "we recommend an alignment" shows up on your paperwork, because for a lot of shops, it's printed on nearly every visit, regardless of what your car needs. 2 tickets land on my bench for the same model. One driver gets talked into an alignment at $112 every single oil change, no symptoms, no reason. The other only aligns when the tires actually show it. And over a couple of years, he's hundreds of dollars ahead with tires that wear exactly the same. The truth they skip is that an alignment is called for after you smack a curb or a deep pothole, when your tires are wearing unevenly, when the car pulls to one side, or when you put on new tires or suspension parts, not on a calendar. Quick reminder, if you're already spotting lines you'd cross off your own invoice, take 1 second and hit that subscribe button. It's how we keep these coming, and the next 2 are the ones that sting the most. The fix is to align when the car tells you to, not when the menu does. A pull in the wheel, uneven tread, or fresh tires going on. Number 4. The dirty air filter. Walkout. Here it is. Number 4. The one I promised you've already paid for. You know the move, even if you've never named it. The advisor comes out to the waiting room holding your engine air filter up like evidence, gives it a little shake so you can see the dust, and says, "You really don't want to be driving around breathing through that." A school bus driver from Akron showed me the invoice on his 2020 Silverado. $48 for an air filter installed, when the part itself runs about $14, and he watched the man clip it into place behind the counter in under a minute. What makes this the most paid-for scam on the entire list is that the dirty filter does the selling for them. You see the dust with your own eyes, you feel a little embarrassed, and you say yes before you ever think about the markup. A filter with a light coat of dust often has thousands of good miles left in it, and the job is 2 clips and a 30-second swap. The fix is to pop your airbox open yourself, take a look, and if it's genuinely dark, drop in a new one for the price of the part. Go pull your old invoices when this is over. I'd bet that line is sitting on more than one of them. Number 3. The synthetic switcheroo. This is the one you can't see happening, which is exactly why it's lasted so long. You pay for a full synthetic oil change, off the menu, full synthetic price, and trust that full synthetic is what came out of the gun and into your engine. In all my years around high-volume quick lube shops, I've seen the overhead bulk tanks labeled one grade and filled with another more than once, with the customer paying the $89 full synthetic line and never laying eyes on what actually went in. The fix is to make it visible. Ask to see the bottle or the bulk tank label, request the oil spec on your receipt, or take your business to a shop that opens a sealed bottle in front of you. We're down to 2, and the one waiting at number 1 is the reason I finally walked away from that side of the business. It doesn't just empty your wallet, it can take the whole engine with it. Number 2, the diagnostic fee. Your check engine light flicks on, you bring the car in already worried, and before anyone touches a single bolt, there's a diagnostic fee sitting on the estimate just to tell you what that light means. Let me separate two things here because they genuinely are not the same. Real diagnosis, a technician actually chasing down why a fault is happening, is skilled labor, and it's worth paying for. But plugging a scanner into the port and reading the trouble code off it takes about 2 minutes, and most auto parts stores will do exactly that for free right there in their parking lot. Think back to the last time a light came on. Did a shop charge you simply to find out what it was, before they'd lifted a single wrench? A $128 fee to read a code you could have gotten for nothing is the easiest money that Counter makes all day. The Fix hands that money straight back to you. Get the code read free at a parts store, or keep a $26 OBD2 scanner in the glove box that pays for itself the first time a light catches you off guard, and walk in already knowing what you're dealing with. A customer who already knows the code is a customer nobody can frighten. Which brings us at last to number 1, the single upsell on this whole list that can end your engine in an afternoon. Number 1, the engine flush. This is the one that drove me out of that side of the business, and I need you to really hear it. The advisor tells you your engine is packed with sludge, shows you a dark dipstick or a grainy photo on a tablet, and says you need an engine flush today before real damage sets in. Here's what turns this from a simple waste of money into a genuine threat on a high-mileage engine that has never been flushed. Pouring in a harsh chemical and running it can break loose years of settled sludge all at once. That loosened debris doesn't just disappear. It travels through the system and can plug the tiny oil passages and the pickup screen that feed your engine its lifeblood, starving the bearings of oil in a matter of minutes. A taxi driver from Cleveland learned this the hardest way there is. His 2014 Camry had 291,000 honest miles on it and ran fine, right up until a shop convinced him to flush it to protect the investment. Within days, the oil pressure dropped, a bearing spun, and the engine that had carried him most of a decade was done. The replacement set him back $4,180 for a problem he simply did not have until someone sold him the cure. Here's the truth they will never open with. If you've been changing your oil on a sensible schedule, you don't have a sludge problem that needs flushing in the first place. Clean oil, swapped out regularly, is the only flush a healthy engine ever needs. The fix here is a single word, and that word is no. Don't let anyone rush an internal engine treatment into your afternoon, especially on an older engine that's been properly maintained. And the second they lean on the word today, treat it as your cue to get a second opinion and walk out. Because that's the thread running through all 13 of these. The most powerful word in that entire shop isn't the name of any part or any service, it's today. The moment someone tells you it has to happen this instant or something terrible is coming, that is precisely the moment to slow down instead of speeding up. You walked in here worried about getting taken, and you're walking out able to read a repair estimate like the person who used to write them. That right there is the whole game. If you want to know how often you actually need to change your oil, because that 10,000-mile figure printed on so many service menus is a quiet little trap of its own, and I'll show you exactly where that number came from. Click the video on the left. I'll see you there.